May 2nd, 1968. Vietnam War. 12 American soldiers are trapped in the jungle, surrounded by over 1,000 Vietnamese troops. There's a chopper hovering above them, and one guy is standing at the door. No gun, just a knife and a med kit. Bullets are everywhere. The chopper is getting hit. He looks down at all that chaos, and what he does next, you're not going to believe it. His name is Roy Benavidez, and his story is so insane that the President of the United States literally said, if they made a movie about this guy, nobody would believe it. But here's the wild part. Before Roy ever jumped out of that chopper, he'd already been through the hardest thing of his life. On an earlier tour in Vietnam, Roy was out on patrol and stepped on a landmine. The blast messed him up bad. His spine took the worst of it. When they brought him to the hospital, doctors told him straight up,
"You're probably never walking again, and you're getting a medical discharge."
Roy wasn't buying that. At night, when nobody was watching, he'd sneak out of bed. First, he'd drag himself across the floor using just his elbows and his chin, all the way to the wall. Then he'd try to pull himself up using the wall for support. A lot of nights, he'd be crying from the pain, but he kept coming back and trying again. Little by little, he started sitting up, then standing, then walking along the wall, holding on for support. And on the exact day the doctors showed up with his discharge papers, Roy got out of bed and walked across the room right in front of them. After that, he got real physical therapy and kept pushing himself. Within a few months, he was running 10 miles with a weighted pack on his back. Then he went and completed the brutal Special Forces training, became a weapons expert, and by 1968, he was back in Vietnam. May 2nd, 1968, an area called Loc Ninh. A 12-man team, 3 Americans, 9 Montagnard soldiers, is out doing a recon mission near the Cambodian border, gathering intel. They have no idea that the jungle they just walked into is basically a trap. A full North Vietnamese battalion, close to 1,000 troops, is waiting for them. The second that small team steps into a clearing, gunfire opens up from every direction. Within minutes, a bunch of the team are badly hit. There's no way out for them on their own. They radio in an emergency call. They need choppers, and they need them now. 3 helicopters try to reach the wounded guys, but the second they get close to the jungle, the enemy lights them up. Bullets are hammering the sides of the choppers. There's even anti-aircraft fire coming up from below. The choppers have to pull back. Some of the crew got hit too, and the helicopters took damage. They head back to the American base near Loc Ninh to check the wounded and check the aircraft. And that's the base where Roy Benavidez happens to be that day. Roy wasn't even part of the rescue team that day. He's just sitting there listening to the radio chatter. And from the broken up voices, the gunfire in the background, the guys screaming for help.
"Mayday! Mayday! We're pinned down, taking heavy fire! We need immediate extraction! Send help now!"
He knows right away that the team stuck out there is in serious, serious trouble. Roy knew going into that area was basically a suicide mission. Didn't matter. He grabbed his medical bag and ran straight for the chopper that was about to try the rescue again. Nobody ordered him to go. He just went. He didn't even bring a real weapon for himself. Just his medical bag and a knife, and he climbed on board. As the helicopter got close to the area, the moment the enemy spotted it, they opened fire again. From up above, Roy's trying to spot exactly where the trapped team is. He looks down and realizes every single person down there is either wounded. Roy tells the pilot to head for a small clearing nearby, but the chopper can't even fully land there. It just hovers a bit above the ground. Roy looks down. The team's location is about 75 meters away. Roy jumps out of the helicopter. He hits the ground hard and, without stopping for a second, starts running straight toward the team. Bullets are whipping past him the whole way. Before he even reaches them, he takes a bullet in his right leg. Shrapnel tears into his face. His head gets hit too. He doesn't slow down. He finally reaches the team, and what he finds is bad. Guys are lying on the ground with serious wounds. Their team leader is already dead. Roy himself is bleeding and hurt, but he immediately takes charge of the whole situation. He drags the wounded to better cover and tells the guys who can still shoot to watch different directions. Then he starts treating the wounded, wrapping up wounds to stop the bleeding, doing what he can for the serious injuries, all while keeping an eye on the enemy the whole time. He gets on the radio and starts setting up another rescue chopper to come in. He throws smoke grenades so the pilot circling above can actually see where the team is. The helicopter tries to come down. The second it gets close, the enemy fire ramps up even harder. Bullets are flying all around the chopper. If it sits on the ground too long, it's not making it out of there. Roy starts picking up the wounded, one at a time. That's when Roy remembers something. The dead team leader was carrying classified documents. If those papers fell into enemy hands, it could put American operations, personnel, and plans at serious risk. So Roy leaves the safety of the helicopter and runs back toward the body to grab the documents. Right as Roy reaches the body and starts pulling the papers out, he takes a bullet to the stomach. Now Roy's in really bad shape. Even so, he gets the documents. At that exact moment, the pilot of the rescue chopper gets hit by enemy fire too, fatally. The helicopter loses control, crashes into the ground, and flips over. Roy starts pulling the trapped guys out. Then he gathers everyone left into a small defensive circle. He spreads out the wounded. Roy himself is bleeding from multiple wounds, but he's not thinking about himself. He's focused on keeping everyone else alive. More and more enemy troops keep showing up. Roy knows there's no way this little group survives much longer just sitting on the ground. So he gets on the radio and calls in air support, planes and gunships flying overhead. Roy calls out the enemy's exact location anyway and starts directing the airstrikes. Gunships swoop in over the jungle and start hitting the enemy positions. For a little while, the gunfire dies down. Time keeps ticking by. Roy's still moving non-stop between the wounded. Finally, after hours of fighting, another rescue helicopter manages to get down. For everyone trapped in that jungle, this is basically the last shot. Roy starts getting the wounded onto the chopper. He'd carry one guy over, load him in, then go back for the next one. While he's heading toward another wounded soldier, a North Vietnamese soldier comes up behind him and slams the butt of his rifle into Roy's head as hard as he can. Roy goes down. That hit shatters his jaw. He can't even talk anymore. Then, same enemy soldier comes at him with a bayonet. Roy tries to block it with his bare hands. The blade cuts into his arms, but Roy grabs that enemy soldier and he's got left to take the guy down and finishes him off with his knife. The second that fight's over, Roy gets back on his feet. He goes right back to helping his wounded guys, getting them to the helicopter. Meanwhile, 2 more Vietnam soldiers come running at the chopper. If they get a few more steps closer, they could open fire on the wounded and the crew inside. Roy spots them. He grabs a weapon and takes both of them down before they can reach the helicopter. By now, almost everyone left alive is on board. Roy climbs in last. The second the helicopter's above the jungle, Roy passes out. Back at base, they carry him off the chopper. His jaw's knocked out of place. He can't talk, can't open his eyes, can't move his body at all. The doctor checks him and figures he's dead. They lay Roy down next to the other bodies brought back from the field. A little while later, Doctor starts zipping the body bag up over him. But there's still a small spark of consciousness left in Roy. He can hear everything happening around him. He realizes they think he's dead and they're about to zip him up. But he can't speak. He doesn't have the strength to lift his hand. His eyes won't open either. As the doctor's bringing the zipper up toward his face, Roy manages to gather up every last bit of strength he has left and spits in the doctor's face. The doctor jumps back and yells,
This man's alive!
They rip the bag open immediately and rush him into surgery. When they finally counted it up, Roy had 37 separate wounds on his body. Roy Benavidez cheated death that day. All on his own, he saved 8 men's lives. At first, he was given the Distinguished Service Cross. Later on, a surviving witness came forward, confirmed exactly what happened, and Roy's award got upgraded to the Medal of Honor. President Ronald Reagan personally presented him with the medal on February 24, 1981. On top of that, Roy also earned 4 Purple Hearts. Honestly, every American needs to know who Roy Benavidez is. So if you respect true bravery, share this video. Post it right now to your Facebook groups, drop it in your family chat, and let's give this man the absolute respect and recognition he earned. Today, there's a highway in Texas named after him, a massive Army cargo ship, several schools, a military training academy, a leadership program, parks, and military buildings, all carrying his name. So that's the true story of Roy Benavidez. If you respect what this guy did, drop a salute in the comments. And if you're into true war stories like this one, make sure you're following the Ruby 3D page.